Hey, what's up, Stay Tuners? It's your good friend Jimbo here, letting you know that today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. I recently joined as a member and you can too. Apply today and let them know that you heard it from Stay Tuned Sports and you start earning today. That's podgo.co at podgo.co.
Heard the rest. Now here's the best Stay Tuned Sports Podcast.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here, back with kind of excited. You know, hockey started off last night, Tuesday night. I'm recording on Wednesday. It was nice to see back. I don't know how you guys are feeling about that. Just to add another sport to our schedule here to watch. But hope everybody had a good weekend. I had a blast. Took the youngest to Dave & Buster's. Played a lot of Minecraft down there, which was actually a pretty cool game how they had it set up. I'm not big into Minecraft, obviously. He's a lot younger. He's like 9 years old, so he's all into Minecraft. But we played a lot of games, a lot of sports games, a lot of fighting games, and it was pretty cool just to get out of the house for a little bit and enjoy some time out. So, like I said, hopefully all you guys had a good weekend as well. So, before we get into the show, head over to staytunedsports.net for all of our social media accounts, which is on the right-hand side there. Our merch tab is up top left, or up top there as well, in case you want to buy a hoodie or t-shirt. Got some nice t-shirts. I'm gonna add a new hoodie hopefully in the next couple days, maybe within the next week or so. But just to kind of help show your support for the show, so we can get bigger and better and nicer giveaways. And if you don't want to do that, which is totally fine, totally understand, head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/stsports, and it's just another way you could show your support. A little bit cheaper, of a way to show your support. And head over to betangles.com. They're one of our sponsors, which sponsors our Combat Corner, which we'll be talking about a little bit later on in the show. We actually have an exclusive offer from them for our listeners only. When you sign up, use the referral code free month to get your first month free. I was just on the site. Definitely a lot of information in there to help you decide what teams you want to pick on, whether it be college football or hockey or football. All the major sports are on their website. So make sure you guys head over there to show their site some love and use promo code free month to get your first month free. And then one last thing, the STS chat line is still up. If you want to give it a call to bitch about how I suck at talking sports or don't agree with any of my hot takes, all you gotta do is dial 612 STS chat. That's 612-787-2428, and you'll be on the show the following week. And I'll give my rebuttal, whether I think your take is good or not. So, getting into the show here. This past Friday night, like we always talk, and kick off the show, we had the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series back at the Milwaukee Mile. Another great race, another fun race to watch. Just trying to think. I had a brain fart there for a second. I thought I heard something outside. But yeah, another great race to watch. Kicking off the race, Philip Scott won the pole, started off in first, and had some good battles with Chris Darling. the very beginning of the race or so. No cautions till about a third of the way through the race. In total, there was only 6 cautions. The tail end there seemed like they started to kind of rack up a little bit, but it's kind of to be expected when you get closer to the end. There, everybody starts getting a little bit more racier than in the beginning. But our buddy Chris Darling back at it again on lap 36, which caused the first caution. Got spun out actually by Philip Scout. They were battling for the position and just spun him out. Chris was able to make it back up to the front. Led the second most laps in the whole race, 64 laps out of, I believe, 150 or so laps. But at the end there, Chris actually got spun out with Jason Gracias as they were battling for first place as well. So bad luck still seems to be following Chris Darling as far as racing and everything, but it's still early on in the season. It's only the 5th race or so in the chase here, or in the season. Still have a few races before the chase, so he definitely could make up some time here, to get up into that top 10 to make it into the chase. But Ben Mashburn wins after a late caution. Kind of a cool, funny finish there with him and I forget who came in second. I feel bad now, but he was blocking the whole way, left, right, and finally basically spun out, crossing the finish line to win the race. Our buddy Matt Cherry, he started off in 6th. He had a decent race. Started off in 6th. Basically was bouncing between between 5th and 10th place. Ended up finishing in 5th, so he had a good outing there. So upcoming week they are at Texas Motor Speedway, Friday night, 9 p.m. over on 3Y TV on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to them. They just hit 1,000 subscribers, so I want to give a shout out to Peter and Drew and all those guys that are involved with 3Y TV. Congratulations on the 1,000th subscriber. On to 2,000. Let's push for 2,000 by the end of the month, okay, guys? Let's get that. But no, they're definitely when you guys tune in, they're definitely the best commentators out there for iRacing right now, and it's a joy to listen to them. As far as Texas Motor Speedway, like I did last week, here's my 3 racers to look out for this coming weekend. First one is Nathan Maurer. Past 3 races, he's finished better than the last. So like 2 weeks ago he may have finished 7th, but then last week he finished like 6th or so. He keeps on improving on his finishes. And he's also 6th in points. So right now he's in that top 10 to make it to inside to the chase. And if he wins, he's automatically in there. So he seems to be getting closer and closer to that, that W. So my next racer is Doug Neal. Started top 10 in his last 3 races. Looks to finish another race strong. He finished 3rd place this past weekend, this past Friday, and he's just always up there. He's always in that top 10, so he's looking to, just like Nathan Maurer, crack that W. And then my 3rd racer here, I believe I took him last week. If it wasn't last week, it was the week before. Joshua Sobel has 2 top 10 finishes in 5 races. Last 2 races seemed like kind of bad luck for him. Kind of got caught up in some of the log jams when there was wrecks, and hopefully he could, looks to stay clean this race to finally get a top 3, get up there on the podium, and be able to do his shout outs. the only thing with last Friday that I kind of disagreed with one of the commentators was that they felt like Sobel. This is Sobel's second time running in the Truck Series, and the comment was made that the first season just really wasn't that good. But really, the luck in that first season with him, when he was driving the Stay Tuned Sports truck, the first half of the season, he was just bad luck, but just something clicked, and he actually almost made it into the chase that season. So, okay, it may seem like he's back to that, luck type stuff, but maybe that second half of the season, he'll pick back up and end up there in the end in the chase. This past week, it came out that Derek Carr is not discussing a contract extension with the Raiders during the season, which is kind of funny timing, especially with all this John Gruden stuff. Now, when I was doing my notes for this topic, the whole John Gruden resigning thing didn't come out yet. The first email coming out about the union's leader, Damaris Smith, plus all the comments that Gruden said about Goodell coming out. But when I did my notes for this, the whole homophobic comments weren't out yet. Now that they're out, you have to wonder if, even though Carr has 2 years left on the contract, does that affect him at all? He's stated multiple times that he doesn't want to leave the Raiders. He's in no rush to get an extension because, like I said, he's got 2 years. I think I saw like $40 million left. Plus, the Raiders this season are up against the cap. Now, the rumors are that the next 2 years, at least the next 2 years, the salary cap should go up, especially with the Raiders being in Las Vegas now. So there should be a lot more room for money to be thrown around. But, he's always been scrutinized in LA, or Oakland at the time, I should say. And even with Vegas, there was sometimes during the last season about trade rumors, him being traded, or him and Gruden not being on the same page. But if my memory serves me correct, he's had multiple, offense coordinators, always had to learn a new system, and then Gruden comes in, finally has some of that stability as far as a system to learn. Now he's got to learn a new one. Now I'm not saying, I don't think he's going to ask for a trade. I think that wouldn't. I don't want to say wouldn't be smart, but no team's going to trade for him anyways. Unless you're the Eagles and got that cap space. But Carr's 30 years old. You're going to have a new head coach coming in. Maybe you do ask for a trade. Maybe if you are Derek Carr, by the time your contract's up, you're 32. Mike Mayock will still be your GM, so you're not sure how well the drafts are going to keep going. I know Gruden and Mayock got bashed for this past year's draft, but it seems like they kind of knew something was up, so all their picks are finally working out, it seems. But if you're Carr, wouldn't you rather go to, say, the Packers? You got just as good a receiving core, if not maybe just as equal. You got Devontae Adams there. That's pretty much it. Maybe if the Packers trade for him, maybe they do help him out and get him another receiver. They obviously have the running game, but I just think the Raiders it's slowly going to come out like Raiders are going to be trash. This whole John Gruden thing resigning, I don't think is the end of the story out in Las Vegas. Now today I saw that Nassab, the Raiders defensive end, asked for a personal day to kind of help process all this stuff. And this season may be done for the Raiders because you had a coach that a lot of players respected and looked up to. Have this come out now, Grant? So this segment is basically kind of like a little bit of Derek Carr, a little bit of the John Gruden situation. Even though this email came out 10, 11 years ago, it's still not good. What was said, how it was said. But these players looked at him, obviously like a father figure or a big brother or whatnot, and now they're disappointed. So, you're going to have this distraction the rest of the season, especially now if they go on a huge losing streak. The questions are going to be brought up. Was the Gruden distraction the reason you had this tailspin? And I think you're going to see some of these players behind closed doors are going to start questioning if they want to stay in Las Vegas, if they want to get a fresh start and go somewhere else to win the championship. And I think Derek Carr should be one of those. I don't think a team will trade for him. Again, maybe the Texans, maybe they'll do a swap. Derek Carr and a first rounder and like a mid rounder for Deshaun Watson. But you never know. But if I was Derek Carr, I would get out of Las Vegas as soon as I can because it's only gonna get worse. They finally had a good coach after years of terrible coaching, which Derek Carr had to deal with, and now he's going to be right back where his career started. So up next is our segment, the Hot Minute Take. I'm going to talk a little bit about Ben Simmons and the Sixers. Ben Simmons, let's give a little backstory before I get into it. Ben Simmons requested a trade out of Philly, held out, and now has reported. Why would you report, if you wanted to trade, why would you report? Why wouldn't you hold out as long as you can to force that trade? You see about Aaron Rodgers holding out. Finally got what he wanted. He got the gentleman's agreement that he'll be traded after the season. Then he reported. Reports are that Ben Simmons reported because he proved his point. It's very rare NBA players hold out of training camp. Ben Simmons lost like $1 million or so, something like that. But really, you lost all the leverage now. Ben Simmons lost all the leverage by coming back to the Sixers. And now, Sixers could find him left and right if he decides to sit out longer, to leave the facility. This also hurts the Sixers too, because now they have no leverage for trades with other teams. That was our Hot Minute Take. I know I went like a minute and 3 seconds, but wanted to get in there. Basically, both teams, or both, the player and the team should just make up, because they need each other. So, and I really think Simmons is best on that team with Joel Embiid, and I think this is going to be the best chance for that team to win a championship. Up next, we have our blue picks for week 5. Very interesting. So here are our blue picks.
4th and 5. Jones steps up, takes off, he's in, touchdown!
3rd down and 3. Jackson has all day, looking deep for Hollywood Brown again. He's got it. Brown off to the races, and he stays on his feet. Touchdown!
And here is your Blue Picks of the Week, brought to you by Skunk Duck Studios, the best ducking designs on the web. So that's right, Week 5 Blue Picks. I actually had a good week last week, almost went 3 for 3, but of course the Lions had a choke for me again. So a little recap from last week, my picks. I had Tampa Bay blowing out the Patriots. I believe that's who they played. Which they did, 45-17. Brady got hurt though, which, you know, I don't root for anybody to get hurt that is out for like a long time, but this does help the Eagles this Thursday. If they have to play against, if they don't have to play against Brady, I should say. Then for my lock, I had Tennessee over Jacksonville. They did beat them 37-19. I still believe the whole Urban Meyer distraction is what helped them lose. And I still think it's going to, well, maybe not now with this John Gruden thing. Maybe it won't be as big of a distraction. And then for my upset, I had the Lions beating the Vikings. And with the last second field goal, the Lions decided, no, Jimbo, you're not going 3 for 3. And Minnesota pulled off the win, 19-17. So on the season, I am 9-6 with my picks. Again, when I say 9-6, it's with my rules. The blowout, you got to win by 10. Lock is the obvious win. And then the upset, I picked the underdog. That's 5 points or more as an underdog. So this week, for my blowout pick, I have the Rams over the Giants. Rams are giving up 10.5 points. I could see them winning by 15 or 20 because as of right now of the recording, Daniel Jones is questionable. But if you guys seen that concussion that he got, I mean, that looked like me on a Saturday night with about a half bottle of Jameson in me. I mean, wobbly legs and everything. You could tell he wasn't all there. I highly doubt he starts. You know, you have to go through all those concussion protocol steps. I highly doubt he'll be able to go. And Saquon Barkley with that nasty ankle sprain. So you lose your starting quarterback, who's also your leading rusher on the team, and then your starting running back, who should be leading the rushing yards on your team. So that offense is just going to be just terrible. Charles Barkley, terrible. And I'm going to actually feel bad for our buddy King, who's a Giants fan. For my lock, I have the Dallas Cowboys over the Patriots. As of right now, the Cowboys' offense is on fire. We know how they play in the second half of the season, so it's just a matter of getting there and watching them go 8-8 again, or 8-9. And the reason why I'm picking the Cowboys again is the Patriots barely beat the Texans, who have a rookie quarterback who is nowhere near this Dak Prescott's talent. And then for my upset pick, I have Washington over the Chiefs. Washington's getting 7 right now. Okay? If you watch that Eagles game, they had no defense whatsoever. When you pressure Mahomes and get him a little rattled, he's not the Patrick Mahomes of years past. He even came out and said that he needs to reevaluate what he's doing and fix it. So if Chase Young can get in there and rattle him a little bit and get in his head, I think it could be a closer game than what people are giving the Redskins. And I'll be honest, I may even take the Redskins with that, point spread, 7 points, with the Washington football team going up against a team with no defense. So they are my picks, I should say, not that is. I got, just to recap, Rams blowing out the Giants, Cowboys as my lock over the Patriots, and the Washington football team as my upset over the Chiefs. Up next, we have our Combat Corner segment sponsored by BetAngles. Check out betangles.com for all your sports betting needs, as well as their NFL and college football game analyzers, which are available now. We also have an exclusive offer for our listeners. Join now with the code FREEMONTH to get your first month free. So sign up today at betangles.com. So there's no fights this coming weekend for me to do my combat picks or whatever, but BKFC was back last Saturday, and I want to touch on something kind of to bring up what I talked about last week. So kind of refresh. Bare knuckle fighter passed away last week due to injury sustained, I guess you would say, during the fight. And that fight was like in August, so I mean he was in the hospital for a while and finally succumbed to his injuries. And a lot of people were out there calling for the stop of bare knuckle fighting and this and that. But you know what? If you watched the pay-per-view this past weekend with bare knuckle, David Feldman must have had a talk with the medical staff and the doctors that are ringside, because the first two matches were pretty brutal. Okay, as far as first match, I forget the two guys' names fighting, but the ref stopped the fight because the one guy was just getting pummeled. Could he have fought the whole fight? He probably could have lasted through the whole thing. But who's to say something would have happened after the fight, back at his hotel or something? So the ref called that in and they took him right to the hospital just to get him checked as a precautionary thing. Then the fight after that one was two females. I believe both were debuting there. And that fight got stopped because the one female fighters had a mouse in her eye and busted it open. And the ref stopped that one because of the bleeding. So it's obvious that they're being a lot more cautious now with, the doctors putting more of the responsibility in the doctor's hand to stop a fight compared to the corners or the ref, and that's where it should be. It should be in the doctor's corner because they know what to look out for. There was one fight, I think the guy got knocked down, and the way he fell, you could just tell his legs weren't underneath him, and the ref automatically stopped it. Well, the doctor could, I would say, 90% of the time say, okay, he blew a knee out or he broke a hand, he's not gonna be able to go on. Let me stop this before any more injuries happen. So kudos to BKFC if they did have a little talk with their ringside physician to say, hey, you got more of a call here to call a fight. Because obviously the last thing we want to see is more people die in the ring and see an entertaining sport, which I like, me personally. I know, following Twitter with, the combat community or whatever, I know a lot of those people like it. So it would suck that if it had to end because BKFC wanted to be reckless. It's just showing that they're not being reckless and giving the physicians a little bit more responsibility to call a fight. The other part of the Combat Corner I want to talk about is the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder rematch that happened. And I'll tell you what, I was able to tune in to watch that fight, and out of the three fights, that was the best one. If that ends the feud between them, that's the way to go out. Wilder got dropped 3 times. Fury got dropped twice in one round. And the second, I love the one pic I saw on Facebook. Someone put the picture of Fury laying there on the mat, kind of like on his elbow. And it said, most fighters will look down and see this and be like, he's screwed. Until you see it's Tyson Fury, and then you realize you're screwed. Because that's what happened. Fury got back up and ended the fight in the 11th round. Now, of course, Deontay Wilder, starting to come out, I had a broken hand, this and that, starting with his excuses. But this this feud, I don't want to say feud, but this trilogy is over. This is like the Conor McGregor, Habib fight, or Dustin Poirier fight. Yeah, you knocked out Dustin Poirier in the first fight, but you got embarrassed in the second fight before you broke your leg. 2 fights in a row. Definitely the second fight, Wilder got embarrassed. This fight, you were starting to be on the verge again of embarrassed because he was gassed. Wilder was gassed. And that was Fury's game plan, it seems like, just to lay on him to, wear him down. Because he, right around the 4th, 5th round, it seemed like Wilder was starting to get tired out. So where do these fighters go from here? Wilder obviously is a good heavyweight boxer. A lot of people say he got hand-picked fighters that he fought against until he fought Tyson Fury. So why not put him up against Anthony Joshua, who just lost to, I'm probably going to screw this guy's name up, but Usyk, U-S-Y-K. And then I would like to see Fury fight him. If they were on the verge of making Fury versus Joshua, then this guy must be pretty good. So why not match those 2 guys up? Obviously, we won't see anything till spring for any type of fights. But as far as the Wilder fight and Fury feud, it should be over. Hopefully, maybe down the road we'll see a 4th one. But as far as the rubber match talk, it should be done. So I think that's going to be it for this week. Make sure you guys on Friday night head over to YouTube, 3YTV, to watch the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series. See how well my 3 racers do this weekend. I will be camping. Hopefully I could get the race on my phone out there in the woods. But if not, you guys still tune in. Root them on. Pick out a racer you want to root. And give a shout out in the chat there of who you're rooting for. Head over to staytunedsports.net for all our social media accounts. That's where you'll find out any giveaways or reactions of mine. Merch tab's up top there. www.buymeacoffee.com/stsports. It's another way to show your support. And make sure you head over to betangles.com and use the promo code FREEMONTH to get your first month free and start betting today. So till next week, this is your good friend Jimbo, signing out.